I think this is our first podcast of the new year. No, we had one come out Monday. Well, anyways, we're kind of recording this one last minute, and I'm like, man, have we had any podcasts come out this year yet? I don't know, because.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're in kind of our planning cycle for the year, and I thought, hey, let's do our nice little podcast on. We talk about in our community that a bad plan is better than no plan.
Yeah.
And the other one, the Zig Ziglar version of this is if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
Yep, that's true.
And so we've been talking to the community and the MSPs about, look, if you walk into the new year and you don't know what you're going to do in February, if somebody says, hey, what are you in February? You should have somewhere a plan that says, oh, in February, I'm doing these things. Yep. I'm going to have these, here are my rocks for the quarter. Here's my rocks for the year. Here are things I'm going to accomplish by the end of the year. Because a lot of times MSPs, oh, I'm going to grow this year. And that's their plan.
That is. Yeah. So many times that is. I'm going to do better. We're going to make more.
I'm going to do better. How? Yeah. I don't know.
How? Yes.
At least that's a bad plan.
I guess so.
Because, I'm going to make more money this year, but there's no plan to make money. So don't take comfort in the fact that you think you have a plan because you have a goal. Goal is to make more money. My goal is to breathe today. Okay. The plan is the how. The why is your goal. So I want to make more money this year. So you want to make a plan on how you're going to make more money. And that is how you're getting on track. And so the bad plan to make more money, I'm going to make more money in my MSP by selling puppies with every account.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's a plan. It's a bad one. Not everybody wants a puppy. But the idea there is that at least you gave it some thought, which is more than a lot of our customers and people do. When we're talking to them on goal setting, is like, well, what are you gonna do this year? I'm gonna work harder and make more money.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like we have playbooks in our software, and the number of MSPs who don't have an interest in the playbooks is interesting because those playbooks, that's your plan, man.
It is. And I think it's been kind of interesting working with some MSPs and when we develop those, and there's a bit of skepticism maybe about, hey, I've tried these things before, scripting and, automated sort of deals. And the cool thing about our playbooks and again, this isn't dependent on our software. I mean, back to the Big Chief tablet, the number 2 pencil thing. Our playbooks are a series of play and you call the play. All right. It may be an executive dinner. Okay. I don't need to script out the menu, the talking points, the venue, all those.
You don't need the processes and procedures in place.
Yes. We just got to be able to say, hey, we're going to do this. This is a priority. We're going to do it. And then the cool part about it is you get to let the talents in your team shine. You may have those individuals who can do really good at some of these plays and some are not so great. And so, you let the right people run the right plays. It's just, I'm not a sports guy, but there's so many analogies here that just low hanging fruit, and it really allows your team to capitalize on everyone's strong suits. But you can't just look at your whole team and say, all right, it's new year. We're going to make more money. Everybody go out there and do more.
Do more.
That's just not going to get anything done.
Yeah. The goal should be the how. So if you get into like management theory and design, you have process, procedure, policy, and it goes up. And the procedures is what the IT people get caught up in. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to have a script. So I even have a lecture I give where it says, when you get down to the procedure, like you will do this rule on this firewall and you will type in these commands. That's the procedure. The next level down from that is level 0, which is scripting. Hey, run this script. Mm-hmm. And then it handles the procedure for you. Process, like the process says, click the script and let it run. or the process says, go get the firewall build procedure and follow it. The policy says you will follow the firewall build policy
Yeah.
every time you build a firewall for here's the policy for, medical clients, stuff like that. The playbooks are like up a level. So if a script is tier 1 and a policy is tier 3, a play is like tier 5.
No.
We are going to talk to the client once a quarter. What are you going to talk to them about? Okay, now you can start building the levels below that.
And that's where you get into a very iterative process. And again, the IT guys in all this, I think sometimes we start at the bottom and try to build the way up. And we've got to take this, at a different approach and go, hey, yes, I'm gonna create a 12-month plan to talk to my clients. Do I know exactly what I'm doing in that month 12? No, not yet. But I know the high level of what I want to do, and I can start with that plan right now. And I can build out the details I need as they get closer. And it allows you to be adaptive. We've talked a lot over the last many months about, the economy and the forecast that was January of 2023 compared to the, global forecast, financial forecast of 2024. They're different and they didn't end up in the same spot, but we've been able to adapt and work with the changes because in 2023, we didn't set a specific script for things to be done in December of 2023. We set goals, we set talking points, and we adapted as we got there, but we still, along the entire way, we were working the plan.
Yeah, and when we say like a bad plan, let me give you an example on this, what Skips is talking about. A bad plan would be that, hey, I'm going to go on site with my customer once a month. What are you going to do there? You don't have a plan. You're just going to do a walkthrough. You're going to do walkthroughs once a month with your big clients. Now, the more mature MSPs say, hey, when we do a walkthrough, here are the points we're going to hit. We're going to do like kind of like your tune-up for your car. We're going to do a 31-point checkup as we walk through. Okay, now you've got a nice plan.
Yeah.
I still consider that a bad plan because you're not touching base with the customer on their value system. But that's my vision of what a good plan is. You might say, hey, we're going to do walkthroughs on any client that is on our gold service plan. And we do it once a month. And that's just to keep the ticket loads down. That's going to be the goal. Keep the drive-bys down. I know if I walk through this site, I call it walking the gauntlet in the corporate world. If I walk down and I'm seeing people are going to pull me in for little quick fixes, and those don't become tickets. And that keeps my tier 1 desk happy.
Yeah.
But a good plan would be, in my opinion, starting at the top saying, I'm going to meet quarterly with my customers who have unique goals, and I'm going to align with those goals. That's a good plan because it's going to trickle down to everything else I do. What am I doing in my walkthroughs then? What am I doing during my tech sessions? I don't know. But I'm starting at the top level doing these strategic reviews with clients where I'm going to walk and say, tell me about your company goals. And then I'm going to create a plan based upon that for all my customers. So you could walk in and say, hey, you know what? Every time we walk into our customers and do these strategic meetings, they always ask about this.
Yeah.
We need to have a plan in place. So when we walk in the door, we have a response to what is AI doing for business or whatever the common question is.
Yeah.
Now you're creating a better plan. That's the iterative approach. You've had 3 or 4 of these big strategic meetings. You kind of know, you can predict what the conversation is going to be like. And then now you have responses. So, when I'm doing like a sales pitch of our software, I can kind of predict the questions that people are going to ask. And the more I can predict the questions they're asked, the better chance I can hire a salesperson to just respond when these questions come up. And that's where your plan gets more and more solid. Because I started with a crappy plan or what I call a semi-good plan of I'm just going to meet with the customer.
Yeah.
But then over time, I add on to the plan and I make it a little better because my goal is to close faster. The goal is for you as an MSP to align better with your client's business, which will result in more revenue for you and them. So how do you get there? You slowly build out the plan. You start off with that bad plan and then you iterate. You make it a little
Yep.
bit better. Well, next time we go and talk to the client, let's bring coffee in with us. Next time we go with the client, let's bring an AI brochure, or let's bring in something that's going to help them answer their questions right off the bat, because you look super professional at that.
Yep. Well, and so I can't help myself. That meet with the customer once a month deal, or for a certain segment of your clients, I think is really great. And back to leveraging your team, you can send 2 people. Now I know that's additional resources, but you can get a lot done. So you book this meeting. It's on the calendar. Your clients expect it, and you show up once a month. But you've got 2 people. You've got the technical role and you got the account management role. And so you can split up, and now you've got a technical person who's walking the floors, who's checking closets, who's doing whatever they need to do. And when you have more of these high level, hey, we're thinking about, redoing our printers, or hey, we doing all these other things, those conversations can be handled by the account manager. And at the same time, that account manager role is not drug into the technical issues of, hey, this machine makes a buzzing noise. Can you figure out why? And so we've got a really easy way to allow the right people to do the right things. And we can put that on the calendar and roll that out. And the good thing is, it's not just that you show up and you're seen by your clients, or you show up and you get a few things done. It's the opportunity to engage and uncover more opportunities to provide a overall better service that you and your customers might not have known about unless this event happened.
Yeah.
So it's just the upsides for what you get out of your engagements is not minimal. So don't, if you got a plan in your playbook that you just feel like this is a token thing, we got to do this, everybody does this sort of things. No, don't do those. You might not know exactly what's going to come out of it, but you should expect that your engagements are going to build either definable, in some ways, stronger relationships, or generate more revenue for your organization. Yep. And if you don't have those outcomes from the plays, you need to really evaluate, does that play need to be in your playbook? Because those unnecessary plays are some of the things that destroy the plan. Everybody knows this is useless. I don't really have to prioritize it. They don't do it. And then the whole playbook falls apart because you haven't exercised on it.
Yeah. You got to follow through. And that's why we have playbooks in our software. It's like, could you do this with your Outlook calendar? Yes, but you don't. So
yeah.
And it's got to be consistent. And so having a consistent plan really helps. And, the people don't come into the room to have a conversation about technical jargon. Some do, but people have a conversation to talk about their business or their job, relating to them. So having a plan that aligns with your client's expectations really does help. And then consistently meeting on them so that they know they can count on, it's the first Monday of the month, Bob's going to be here. Yep. Or Alice is going to walk in that door and ask, how are we doing? And they start counting on that. The bigger the corporation, the more they love routine. Yep. The smaller the corporation, the more they get annoyed by it.
Yeah. And that's why they got out of corporate world.
Yeah. You gotta kind of fit in there and read your customer. But like a bad plan would be like forcing something on your client.
Yes.
Like walking in, you will meet with me and you will do a QBR and you will talk about asset management with me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take this bad plan. I'm going to turn it into a good one. You walk in there, you talk about asset management, and you should start picking up that people are zoning out, or there's no leaders in this room.
That's
why? Because they've all delegated to the person with the short stick that this is the meeting that they know it's important because it's technology, but they don't want to be there because there's no decisions for them to make.
Yep.
And so they're going to delegate it to the person with the most time, or somebody they kind of trust to make good decisions in the room. And you're going to notice it's like, okay, how do I tweak this meeting to get Alice back in the room? Or how do I get and attract the leaders? And we do a lot of podcasts on that. I mean, Talk Like a CFO. Look at some of the podcasts we have on Talk Like a CEO, and the things that they care about. You have to bring it. So you've established that you're doing that first Monday of the month meeting. Just the content's crap. You're micromanaging it because some vendor told you need to talk about warranties and asset management. Okay, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now, what does the client actually want to talk about? What if you tried talking about business strategy with them? Well, I don't know business strategy. I don't have an MBA. Okay, ask them, hey, tell me about your business. What is generating revenue for you guys? What is your biggest risks to that revenue? And let them talk and be a business expert and go there with the expectation of learning. And then you're going to learn a bunch of things. And then you're going to say, okay, on the next meeting, let's talk about drivers. Like you're trying to do this. Like we actually can help you with that. Now Alice is coming back in the room because you're asking really good questions that pertain to her business role as a COO or CEO. And she wants to be part of those conversations, just like you would want to be a part of the conversation if somebody walked into your MSP today and said, hey, how are you generating revenue at your MSP? What kinds of clients are your biggest clients? And how can we help you serve them better? Oh, you do medical offices? Did you know we have a medical office suite as part of our software to help you? Like, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. I want to talk about that. Now the CEO to your MSP is in the room because you're talking about important things.
Yep. Well, and an important step here too with your plan, and don't overcomplicate this. This can be a real Achilles heel to any good plan, good or bad. But you're going to have to manage this plan. You need a way to track it. Bit of a personal experience here. I've started out many years working with companies, and I can't tell you how many times we started with a really good plan. I mean, it was solid, but we come sometimes as soon as the end of Q1 and almost always, or many times at least, by the end of Q2. And we look back and like, where are we at with our plan? That was a great plan. And we didn't have any way to manage it. You know, those tickets are going to come in, those fires are going to happen. All this stuff is going to start distracting you as you take care of what needs to be done. And if you don't have a way to hold you to your plan, to manage to your plan, it's just going to slowly dissolve and filter away. So as you build this out, again, don't overcomplicate it, but make sure you have a method to manage your plan.
Yes.
And
something to improve.
And this is the really cool part about it. I think a good method of managing a plan can make a bad plan work really well. Because at least you get it done. You're able to execute on the limited or maybe the short-sightedness, whatever. At least you got those things done and you did them consistently.
I think that's why people like our QBR templates and our personas so much, is because there's a plan there. There's something to run through. And kind of like the Big Chief notebook and number 2 pencil, you can erase and add to this plan. And you should be able to. Like my wife loves her planner. She gets really excited every year when she gets a new planner that she can fill out. And you should be like that too. You should like have this planner, have this software, have this thing that you write down your plan in. The process of making even a crappy plan will make it better.
Yes.
And then when you see that something's not working, no one wants to talk about warranties. You're like, crap. Well, no one does want to talk about warranties. Like, why are we paying so much for software to manage all this crap when no one wants to talk about it? Scratch it out, replace it with something else. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk about timesheets and how to do that better in businesses. Anything that is better than talking about warranties. And so now you scratch it out, you put something new in. And so having that process where you're making the plan gives you something to improve. And so you can start off with that really crappy plan where you're saying, I'm just going to make more money this year by having more strategy meetings every quarter. Okay. Well, we didn't have any strategy meetings last quarter. Okay. Why not?
Yes.
Add to the plan. We need to make phone calls to our client to schedule strategy meetings. Okay. Now, we had 3 meetings last month, but they kind of didn't go well. They kind of checked out. Like, well, what did we talk about? Maybe we need to rewrite the agenda, improve the plan.
Yep.
And that's why you have a pencil and a piece of paper, or you have a planning software. Write it down and improve it when it's not going well. When you're not getting the results you want, change the plan, update it.
So I know many of you had good intentions in 2023 to have QBRs. Or maybe you called them something else. Maybe they weren't exactly quarterly, but you started out 2023 with this business review meeting, and you were going to do them most people shoot for 4 times a year. And great start, perhaps. And then I can guarantee you there's a whole bunch of it out there that in December you did the second one of those. All right. And you scrambled and you got it in, and and for sometimes you didn't get them in, and now you're looking at it again and you go, all right, we need to schedule our annual quarterly business meeting. Because you start out with this great idea, but it doesn't go anywhere. So a great plan is step 1, but 2, then you have to work the plan. You have to keep that going. And then step 3, you got to review that plan. And then that reiterative cycle will make it better and better. And you'll get more and more value out of that the longer and the more intention that you put into that plan.
Yep. You keep going and don't have a perfect plan. I have a number of like prospects in our queue, and they're trying to get everything perfect, and it just stalls them. And it's like, look, start with this. Start at the top level and iterate. And I think that's why a lot of the software implementations don't work, is because they're trying to get it perfect. Stop making it perfect. Start with something good that solves one problem, and then iterate from there. So when you create a plan with your customers, walk into that room. Like, here's a great way to like say, if you want to do a QBR with somebody, solve one problem for them in that QBR. Not a technical problem, but a business problem.
Mm-hmm. Just
Start
one.
with that. Just one. Just that one thing. Anyways, and then move on from there, and you'll make a plan. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere in order to iterate, and then have that plan written down. Scratch it out, add to it, draw on it, make a big mess of it, but do something that you're following. Change it along the way so it becomes better. And then someday you might want to look back and say, oh, that didn't work last time, but it should work this time. And then add that thing back in.
Yep.
Having a plan to fail, or not having a plan is to fail.
Yeah.
Because chaos reigns. If you know anything about the laws of thermodynamics, if you do not put energy into a plan, you're just going to get more and more chaotic. So a lot of you are stuck in firefighting mode right now because you did not put any effort into plans, good and iterating. That's why you're in firefighting mode today.
Yep.
Now, I am saying this as a wrap up here from everything Skip and I have talked about. Step 1, get off this podcast, get out a number 2 pencil, and write down on a piece of paper somewhere, a sticky note. What is your plan for this year? You want a goal? And how are you going to get that goal? That's it. Fill out a sticky paper, put it on the wall in front of your monitor, and stare at that. And then eventually that sticky note will become an 8x11. Or an 8.5 by 11. Eventually, that 8.5 by 11 is going to become a piece of software or something more complicated, a Trello board, some kind of Kanban. That is what's going to happen because you started somewhere. The bad plan was a sticky note on the wall.
Yeah.
And eventually, you're going to find that, you've got this nice plan that's working. And that is how your business is going to grow. That's how you're going to get the Mai Tai on the beach where you can work and your entire MSP is flowing and churning along well because you have a plan now.
That's it. Make a plan. Work the plan.
Make a plan. Work the plan. And run the called play. When you see your leadership, or if you are the leadership, make sure that your employees follow through. Just as Skip said earlier, be consistent. Make sure your employees are following the plan. Even if they don't agree with it, they have to follow the plan.
Yep.
And run the called play so that your clients have those expectations set, and they know that what's going to happen and when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen.
There you go.
All right. This is going to be a great year. 2024 kicked off here. Kick off with the plan. Don't wait till February. Do it now, even if it's a bad one.
There you go.
Thank you.
See you.